Last year, something quietly shocking happened in America. Millions of people walked into car dealerships, signed a few papers, grabbed the keys to a shiny vehicle, and also signed up for a financial commitment that would follow them for years. Not months. Years. Today, it's no longer unusual for someone to pay over $1,000 every single month just to drive a car. Think about that for a moment. $12,000 a year, not for owning a house, not for building an investment, but simply for the ability to drive to work, pick up groceries, and sit in traffic like everyone else. Even the average numbers are surprising. The typical new car payment in the United States now sits around $770 per month, while used cars aren't far behind at about $570 monthly. And to make those payments fit the budget, many buyers are stretching their loans longer than ever before, sometimes 7 full years. 7 years of payments for a machine that begins losing value the moment it leaves the dealership parking lot. Altogether, Americans now owe roughly $1.6 trillion in auto loan debt. That makes car loans one of the largest categories of consumer debt in the entire country. More than 100 million people are currently making car payments right now. And yet, almost nobody questions it. Car payments have become part of everyday life. Your coworkers have them. Your neighbors have them. Your friends post photos of financed cars on social media without thinking twice. It's so common that most people treat it like a normal bill, something unavoidable, like electricity or rent. But what if that assumption is completely wrong? What if one of the most normal financial habits in modern life is quietly draining wealth from millions of households, and almost nobody notices it happening? To understand how this situation became so normal, you have to look at how the car buying process actually works. Imagine walking into a dealership. You're surrounded by polished vehicles, bright lights, and salespeople who seem eager to help. Within minutes, the conversation turns to a single question. Not, "What car do you need?" Not even, "What's your total budget?" Instead, they ask something very specific. What monthly payment are you comfortable with? That small shift changes everything. When people think about the total cost of a car, say $45,000 or $50,000, it feels huge. It forces the brain to slow down, analyze, and question whether the purchase really makes sense. But when the focus moves to a monthly payment, the calculation changes. Suddenly the car isn't $50,000 anymore. It's just $720 a month. Maybe $760. A number that feels manageable, even if the total cost behind it is enormous. This strategy isn't random. It's the foundation of how the entire auto financing system operates. Once buyers focus on the payment instead of the price, the door opens for longer loan terms, higher interest rates, and additional fees. A vehicle that once seemed expensive begins to look affordable simply because the payment has been stretched over more months. The result is a psychological illusion. Instead of asking, "Is this car worth $50,000?" people start asking, "Can I survive this payment every month?" And those are two completely different questions. One protects your money. The other quietly commits your future income before you've even earned it. The real cost of a car doesn't stop at the monthly payment. The moment you drive a new vehicle off the lot, it loses value instantly, often around 10% before you even reach the first stoplight. Within a year, depreciation can climb to 20%. By year 5, a car that cost $49,000 might only be worth $20,000. Here's the trap: your loan balance doesn't shrink with depreciation. You continue paying the same monthly amount for an asset that is steadily losing value. This is what financial experts call negative equity, owing more on the car than it's actually worth. And it's becoming alarmingly common. In late 2025, nearly 30% of trade-ins involved negative equity. That means almost 1 in 3 buyers trying to upgrade owed more than the vehicle was worth. The average negative equity? Over $7,200, a number that keeps growing. Practically, this means if you want to trade in your car, the dealership might say it's worth $18,000, while your loan still shows $25,000. That $7,000 gap doesn't vanish, it rolls into your next loan, creating a larger payment and a longer-term obligation. Many buyers now start new loans already underwater by 5 or 6 figures. Negative equity isn't a sign of reckless spending. Most of these are ordinary people caught in a system designed to keep them in debt. Those who roll over existing debt often end up with payments exceeding $900 per month, far above the national average. The cycle is self-perpetuating: longer loans, slower equity growth, and rising monthly payments. Before they know it, some people are effectively making car payments for decades, trapped not by choice, but by the momentum of the system itself. Let's break down what this actually means with a real example, because the numbers reveal the true impact. Say you buy a new car for $49,000, put down $4,000, and finance the remaining $45,000 at 7% interest over 72 months. Your monthly payment comes to roughly $770. Over 6 years, you'll have paid around $55,400, meaning interest alone adds over $10,000 to the price. Meanwhile, the car itself is losing value fast. By the 3rd year, it might be worth only $28,000, while your remaining loan balance is still around $25,000. You're just reaching break-even equity after years of payments. By year 5, the car could be worth $20,000, but you still owe $10,000. After $46,200 in total payments, your net equity might finally be around $10,000. Look at what actually happened: more than $36,000 left your household, mostly to cover interest and depreciation, not the car itself. Multiply this pattern across multiple cars over a lifetime, and the financial picture becomes staggering. Someone who finances vehicles continuously from age 25 to 65, paying an average of $700 per month, will spend over $336,000. Now imagine if that same $700 per month were invested instead. With a conservative 8% annual return, those contributions could grow to more than $2.3 million over 4 decades. This isn't hypothetical. It's the real opportunity cost of financing cars instead of using cash or investing. Every month of payment isn't just a car expense, it's a lost chance to grow wealth, build security, and achieve financial freedom. And yet, because payments are normalized in society, almost nobody stops to think about it. The system quietly trains people to accept long-term debt as inevitable. The monthly payment is only part of the financial burden. Owning a car comes with layers of hidden costs that most buyers never fully calculate. Insurance premiums rise with vehicle value. Covering a $49,000 car often costs hundreds more per month than a $15,000 car. Registration fees, taxes, and routine maintenance add hundreds more. Fuel costs vary, but modern vehicles, especially larger or luxury models, are rarely cheap to operate. When you combine these expenses, a car with a $770 monthly payment can easily cost $1,400 to $1,500 per month to keep on the road. That's $18,000 annually, just to have a set of wheels. For some families, car-related spending exceeds what they spend on food. And because everyone else seems to handle it, it feels normal, something unavoidable. This is why so many people feel perpetually broke despite decent incomes. They budget carefully, save wherever they can, yet never seem to get ahead. The car payment isn't just taking money, it's blocking wealth accumulation. Every dollar that goes to the lender is a dollar not going toward emergency funds, retirement accounts, or paying down higher interest debt. Over decades, this pattern compounds invisibly. People reach their 50s or 60s having spent tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, on cars, and wonder why their retirement accounts are underwhelming. The answer has been in their driveway the entire time. Even beyond finances, there's a psychological effect. Committing to large payments for a depreciating asset trains your mind to accept debt as normal. This car payment mindset subtly shifts behavior, making it easier to justify other forms of borrowing. Furniture payments, renovation loans, or credit card debt all feel more acceptable once your brain is conditioned to see debt as routine. Cars aren't just transportation, they're shaping how people think about money, often in ways that quietly undermine their financial future. Now let's talk about psychology and behavior. Financing a car doesn't just cost money, it reshapes how people make decisions about every purchase. When you commit to a $700 monthly payment, your brain begins to normalize debt. Borrowing for things that lose value feels ordinary. Paying interest becomes routine. Patience and planning slowly erode. Cash buyers experience money differently. They see every dollar leave their account, which forces them to ask hard questions. Do I really need this car? Is it worth the cost? They compare alternatives, research thoroughly, and often wait months or years to save enough for the right vehicle. They develop discipline and financial awareness that finance buyers rarely build. Meanwhile, monthly payments train people to demand instant gratification. They can drive a new car today without waiting, without saving, without considering the total cost. That habit spreads to other areas: electronics, vacations, furniture, even home renovations. The pay later mindset becomes default operating procedure. This isn't about income. Many people making $60,000 to $100,000 per year still fall into the same trap. The issue is perception and expectation. If everyone around you finances their car, it seems unavoidable. If the culture reinforces that new cars signal success, paying for status appears necessary. Leasing is no better. Lower monthly payments lure people in, but leases are essentially long-term rentals. You never build equity. You always pay for depreciation. At lease end, you start over. Some justify leasing because they want a new car every few years, but the math rarely works for the average household. Over a lifetime, leases often cost far more than buying older, paid-off vehicles. In short, the car payment isn't just an expense, it's a habit-forming system, designed to extract money, normalize debt, and subtly condition buyers to prioritize appearance over wealth. Status and image play a huge role in why people keep making car payments. Cars are identity objects, they signal success, taste, and belonging. Pulling into a parking lot in a new, expensive vehicle sends a message: I've made it. For many, that feeling outweighs the financial cost. Here's the catch: financing identity is expensive. That $800 monthly payment isn't just transportation, it's paying for other people's perception. You're borrowing money to project status. Interest compounds, depreciation eats away at value, and yet the brain focuses on the image, not the balance sheet. Consider two people earning the same salary. Person A finances a new car every 5 years, constantly making payments of $700 to $800 per month. Person B drives older, paid-off vehicles, never paying monthly after the initial transition. Both get to work, run errands, and take trips. But Person B saves $8,000 plus a year, invested or banked, while Person A's money evaporates into loans, insurance, and maintenance. Decades later, the difference compounds into hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost wealth. One drives nicer cars for appearances, the other drives less glamorous vehicles but builds real financial security. Neither is morally superior, but one is financially smarter. The system thrives on pressure and social proof. Auto ads normalize the belief that everyone deserves a new car, newer is safer, and older equals failure. Dealerships profit by emphasizing finance over cash. Colleagues, friends, and neighbors reinforce the notion that payments are standard. Choosing differently requires conscious effort. You must reject the cultural narrative that payments are inevitable. Recognize that cash buyers exist. Understand that reliable transportation doesn't require perpetual debt. Awareness is the first step toward breaking the cycle. Normal isn't always smart, and common habits can quietly destroy wealth. The good news is that escaping the car payment cycle is possible, and it doesn't require a higher income or luck. It starts with intentional choices. Step 1. Keep driving your current car longer than you think necessary. Many Americans trade in vehicles after only 3 to 4 years, often before any serious mechanical issues arise. Maintaining a paid-off car almost always costs less than taking on a new loan. Step 2. Save what you would have paid. If your monthly payment is $600, put that same amount into a dedicated savings account. Over 18 months, you'll accumulate over $10,000. 3 years of consistent saving can reach $21,000 or more, enough to buy a solid, reliable used vehicle without financing. Step 3. Buy your next car with cash. Yes, it may be older and have more miles than a financed vehicle. But it will be fully yours. No interest, no loan, no lender controlling the title. You also avoid the psychological trap of negative equity. Step 4. Repeat the process. Continue saving the amount you previously paid toward your car. Each cycle grows your cash base, giving you the ability to purchase increasingly better vehicles outright while never re-entering the loan system. Within a decade, someone following this approach can drive vehicles worth $15,000 to $20,000 without payments, while having extra savings set aside for future purchases. Over time, your relationship with cars transforms. What once felt like a necessity, the constant cycle of borrowing, becomes optional and even strange. By controlling timing, focusing on cash, and being patient, you not only break free from debt, but you also build habits that strengthen financial discipline and protect wealth over decades. It's not just about money, it's about freedom. Many people resist this approach because of fear and assumptions about reliability. They think a newer car is necessary for safety and peace of mind, while older cars are risky, prone to breaking down. But for most brands, that isn't true. Well-maintained vehicles, especially from manufacturers like Toyota or Honda, can run reliably for 8 to 12 years or more. Depreciation has already occurred, and the bugs in the design have been worked out. You're buying proven performance, not a new car smell. Mechanics understand this instinctively. Walk through any repair shop parking lot and notice the pattern. Many late-model financed vehicles are there for minor repairs or maintenance, while older, paid-off vehicles often run flawlessly. Years of experience show that reliability depends far more on maintenance history than model year. Buying used with cash shifts your perspective. You stop evaluating cars based on monthly payment and start considering cost per mile of reliable transportation. Suddenly, a 10-year-old Civic with a full service record may make far more sense than a brand new sedan with a 7-year loan attached. You're thinking like a smart buyer, not a trapped borrower. Leasing is another trap. Payments may be lower, but you're renting, not owning. Every lease you sign is another cycle where you pay for depreciation without building equity. You may have the latest model, but you're perpetually locked into paying someone else, never accumulating real value. Breaking free requires seeing through these illusions. Safety, reliability, and freedom from debt are achievable without financing. It's about choosing patience over instant gratification, cash over credit, and long-term security over social pressure. One decision changes your trajectory, but awareness is the first step. Here's the final truth: the car payment is optional, even if it feels unavoidable. Society makes it seem mandatory because everyone does it. But millions of people buy vehicles outright every day, not just the wealthy, ordinary people who prioritize saving and patience over borrowing. They still get to work, run errands, and take trips. The difference is simple: they own their cars, and the money that would have gone to a lender stays in their control. The path to freedom is straightforward, though it requires discipline. Keep your current car longer. Save the money you would have spent on payments. Buy your next vehicle with cash. Repeat. Each cycle increases your savings and reduces dependency on loans. Within years, the idea of financing a car will feel as strange as paying cash once did when you started. It's not just about vehicles, it's about financial mindset. Financing a car trains you to accept debt, chase appearances, and sacrifice long-term wealth for short-term satisfaction. Paying cash builds patience, discipline, and control. Over decades, these choices compound. What could have been hundreds of thousands in lost wealth instead becomes retirement security, investments, and financial freedom. Normal doesn't equal smart. Common habits don't automatically serve your future. Most Americans treat car payments as inevitable, but by making conscious, repeated choices, you can break the cycle. The car still gets you where you need to go. The payment is the difference between someone else growing rich from your labor and you building your own wealth. Decide differently. Choose freedom over appearances. Drive reliably, save consistently, and never pay interest for the privilege of moving metal. The choice is yours, and it can change your life forever.